Hello, welcome to Loot Level Chat, the podcast from Loot Level Chill. I'm Mick Fraser, and I'm joined by only two of the usual three musketeers tonight, with Kieran Singh.
Hello.
And Steve Chambers.
Hello, 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 hello.
Lyle Pendle can't be asked. He told us to tell you that. Listeners, viewers, he basically said, I can't be asked tonight. I'm sitting it out.
I mean, there are more expletives than that, but we can't really do that to everyone. It's not really fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to do with his internet, but I wasn't paying attention. He's not here anyway, so we don't have to talk about Pokemon for a change. This week. That's as much Pokemon as we're going to talk about tonight, just there, because we've got three other games to talk about. We got one big game to talk about, and we've got a couple of others. But first of all, how are you guys?
Yeah, well, grand, man.
Pretty good.
Pretty steady for a Tuesday night.
Yeah, nothing.
Nice and sunny.
exciting.
It's nice and sunny, which puts a
it is.
good mood on everything.
It has been a good. It rained here last night for like an hour, and then it was just sunny again today. So,
well, enjoy the 20 minutes of summer you're going to get.
I take it. Oh, don't be so cynical.
All right. 24 minutes of summer you're going to get.
Yeah, you'll be complaining in a couple of months when it's 32 degrees again in the afternoon and everybody's dying.
We can't sleep.
Horrendous.
I work next to a 210 degree oven, and it's just like those days when it's 30 degrees outside and 200 degrees.
You've gone outside to cool down.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
Bit of
that must take its toll. You must be ready for a nap by about mid-morning with that heat.
Oh, it's awful. You don't even get used to it. You just sweat all day, and then you come home and sweat all night. It's just horrible for about 2 weeks every summer, that's all we really get of the hot weather.
See, you take the piss out of me saying it, but you know I'm right.
Yeah. We don't get the best summers in this country. I like the spring. I'm enjoying it now.
It's nice now. That's right.
But I'm away next week, so
All right,
will be
show
hot.
off.
Because I'm going to either Xanthos or Xanti, and it's the Z.
It worries me that you're not sure.
Pardon?
Mum said they're the same thing, but Xanti is the new name.
Okay. Apparently they're the same thing.
Oh.
It's Greece.
Well,
it's an island
I
in
didn't know
Greece, anyway. That's where I'm going. Anyway.
Nothing but pure facts from you tonight.
I know, yeah. Speaking of an island in Greece, the new island in Diablo 4 is a lot like Greece.
I did wonder how you were going to pull that one in then.
It is actually, because Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred. So it's out today at time of recording.
Right.
But I played it and reviewed it last week because they put reviewers on the public test realm, and then they gave us access to all the new content. Both
Did
the new
this
classes.
mean you could drag your characters in?
No. So I'd already used the Paladin because I got it when they launched it at Christmas, because they gave us a code for the pre-order.
Yeah.
And then I pre-ordered it as well on PC, because you can jump between platforms, but you must own it on both platforms.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So even though I had a code for the PlayStation 5 version, I bought the PC version of Lord of Hatred so I could use the Paladin across, because I like to play it on Steam Deck. It plays really well on the Steam Deck. So I'd already played with the Paladin, but the new class Warlock was out, so I got to play with that. And yeah, the new place is called Scovos, and it's where the Amazons are from. So if anybody's familiar with the old Diablo 1 and 2, I think it was a rogue in Diablo 1, but she was replaced by the Amazon in Diablo 2, which is essentially the same character. And they're like classic Greek warrior women, Wonder Woman sort of thing going on. And it's really decent. It's quite good. So I really liked Vessel of Hatred. Vessel of Hatred got some knocks for being quite a short campaign, and then basically it ended on a cliffhanger, which pissed people off because obvious reasons. It was just like it ended on quite a big, like, not a twist, but quite a big moment at the end, and then it was like, oh no, you've got to wait a year before you get the rest of the story, essentially. But this is the rest of the story.
Okay, so this has been a year in the making for you then.
Sort of, yeah. And it's good. It's a good expansion. It's a longer campaign. It's better. Like, it's a lot more like the for an ARPG, Diablo 4 does a lot more with its campaign than most of them do. Like if you compare it to sort of the other recent big hitters like Path of Exile 2. I think Path of Exile is doing better than Path of Exile 2, to be honest. But you take those games and then like Last Epoch and things like that, they don't do what Diablo did with the story. Diablo 4 did a really cinematic story with like proper NPCs and a proper unfolding narrative, and there were some twists and some really fucking spectacular cutscenes.
That's one of those things I always remember seeing from the Diablo stuff. Those cutscenes are absolutely wild.
Yeah.
I mean, Diablo's done good cutscenes forever, since Diablo 2. Diablo 2 was blowing them out of the water, and then like the remastered version, Diablo 2 Resurrected, remastered all those original cutscenes with the same audio, and they were just absolutely brilliant. So it does all that. But yeah, it takes place on a new island or a new part of Sanctuary called Scovos. And like the first area of it is very Greek paradise. Like it looks like Titan Quest 2. And it's really pretty. And then like once you get out of that bit, it's just more Diablo 4. Because the trouble with Diablo 4, as I said, the same in Vessel of Hatred. Vessel of Hatred put you in the Hantu, which is like a jungle. And it's like, oh, we haven't been to a jungle before, but it doesn't matter because you've been to like it's the same as like dense forest in Diablo, or like, you know, we did like Karast in Diablo 3 and whatever. It never really feels new. And because Sanctuary, the base game, has such a fucking huge and varied map, it kind of never feels like it's new because it's already got all the biomes.
You're
so
just
you've
getting
already
a bit of an extension across it.
You've already seen it. And like enemies, when they put new enemies in, it's like it doesn't really matter because they do the same things as the other enemies. So they're different models and they basically have different animations and they have different attack patterns, but it's basically the same. Like there's very few enemies in Diablo that are like, it's not a bullet hell. There's very few ranged like enemies that really trouble you. And Diablo's really chill. Like Diablo 4 is a really chill game. It's not a game for like stressing you out. Like even if you play it at higher levels, because the game world levels with you, you get stronger, the game world gets stronger. It always stays quite frictionless. And then you go up a level and suddenly it's hard for like an hour. And then you've leveled up to match it, and then you keep going, and then you go up the next level. So what they've done is they've added stuff to this. Like so it used to have 4 torment levels. So you would go like easy, normal, hard, expert, penitent. They were the 5 difficulties. Then you'd go into torment levels, and the torments are where Diablo introduces like unique loot and like really like the real build changing stuff that you couldn't get anywhere else.
So that's the stuff to work toward then.
Yeah, you get to the end. Diablo doesn't. You get the campaign out of the way, and then you mash through the levels until you get to 70, and then you just climb up the torment level because you get exponentially stronger.
Yeah, you said
there's
before,
no real
silly.
Yeah, there's no real upper limit. There's an upper limit to I think the damage that you can do, but then you just get tons of different multipliers for it. But ultimately, like it takes a long time, and then like the final grind of like because you finish the levels like because it's gone up to 70 is the cap now. So you get to level 70 and then you start building Paragon levels, and the Paragon levels are used for all your characters. So every character you get to level 70 has as many Paragon points as your original character. You hit 70 and then you go in and distribute those Paragon points, like you share stash, and as long as you're between servers, because you're either on the Eternal Realm or you're on the Seasonal Realm. But that's where you share all the stuff. So, but you hit that point, and like I'm sure like the final 5 levels is as much XP as the rest of the entire like 70 levels, and then 295 Paragon levels. I'm sure it's like the last 5 is as much XP as those 295 levels you've done before. It's something crazy like that. So the grind, and people get there, but the grind is real in Diablo. That's
what you said so far. What is this really offering then above and beyond? What's the real draw for this add-on?
It's just more Diablo. That's it. Is
that the big draw? It's just more to grind away at.
Yeah, it's difficult to really. So I was hoping for a big new end game activity. So Diablo 4 over its lifetime has introduced quite a few new things to the end game. Like you get Hell Tides, which is the standard thing that goes through all the difficulty levels. They have Hell Tides, and basically you go on the map and there'll be a red patch on the map, and you go to the red patch and it's a Hell Tide, and there's demons that spawn and they drop cinders, and you pick those up and then you use them to open chests. And like that's like the core activity. You just run around and do that, but then it has all the other stuff in it. So within the Helltide and in certain areas you have these activities which replace the bounties. So you do the activities, you unlock whispers, you get 10 whispers, you go to the tree and you get a cache, and the cache has random loot, and it works like that. And then on top of that, you've got like the Pit of Artificers, which is just a high level challenge. There's the Undercity of Kuras, which is a timed challenge, but it's all basically just dungeon crawling. You just click buttons.
Yep.
And it's just really cathartic and really like it's just an addictive game. It's the game I play with other stuff on, like
it's the dopamine feeling, just watching those numbers bump.
And I just love bigger numbers, and I love the showers of loot, and that's what Diablo 4 is, and I love it. I think it's really good. And all this really does is it gives you a new campaign, which is fine, but you will only play it once.
How long is it?
It's a bit longer than the last one. I think it took me about 7 hours.
It's a fair chunk.
Not bad, yeah.
Yeah, it's not. The last one was about 5. This one felt longer, and I want to say it was about 7-ish hours. And it does more. It's got some really good boss fights, like some really good boss fights. The final boss fight is excellent. I really enjoyed it. But what they did with the public test run was they gave us the option where if you went into the towns, there was like an imp that you could talk to, and then you could choose to unlock everything. So you could max your levels, give yourself like free mythic loot and all this stuff. So I did one character as like a paladin that I'd already maxed, like played with on my version.
Yeah.
And I maxed him out, and I used the warlock. The new warlock character is the one that I leveled up, and then so I had sort of the best of both worlds. But it was good. It's a really good, it's a fun campaign. I was hoping they were going to put something new in it. I was hoping there would be a new activity to add to the roster. But what it does instead is it gives you this thing called war plans, which is now where it all works, not roguelike, but it works like a roguelike, where now you go to the war plans table after you finish the campaign, and a NPC I won't name is in charge of the war plans table. And you basically then select a load of activities from this roster. And then if you make it through all those activities, you get a big reward pool at the end. So it's like a way for you to kind of curate what you do, rather than have to go, I'm going to do this for a bit, then teleport over there and start that campaign, then teleport over here and start that. You don't have to do that. You just go, I want to do the pit at this level, Undercity at this level, Helltide at this level, this nightmare dungeon, this boss lair, this art, and then you plot this little course and you just play it. So it gives you like a
that's kind of cool then.
It is cool, and it doesn't sound like it would make a difference, but it kind of does, because it gives you a goal on top of just clearing each dungeon, because ultimately the answer is you're after the loot. That's all you want. And the thing I'm not too sure about, and time will tell on this one, is so how Diablo 4's skills worked before is you had like the skill trees were I really liked how they did skills before, but you had the standard skills. So in Diablo you've got a lot of skills to pick from, and you could only equip 5, 6. I can't visualize the best 5 or 6 skills, but there's a shit ton to pick from. But you can only use 5 or 6, and that's how you have these great big build diversity, because they all feed into each other. But in between the active skills, sorry about that. You have these active skills that you can pick from, which you have 5 to 6 active skills on your bar. But then in between all of those active skills, there's a shitload of passive skills, which would completely. So you would have like you would be able to give a character thorns, which means they do damage to enemies when they get hit, but it would just be a passive skill connected to something else. You would have some skills that would maybe change the active skill into a different element, or it would add a different attack to the active skill, or it would like change the effect of the active skill. And you had all these layers, and admittedly it was a lot. When you were like, right, I want to change my build, you would be able to go, because they added an armory last year, so you could go to an armory, save that loadout, wipe your skill tree for nothing. Cost in-game gold, but in-game gold is nothing. By the end game you've got like several million in gold, and then like, and you don't even, I don't sell anything, and I still get to the end game with like 8.5 million gold or whatever, because you just accumulate,
even though you've been hoarding everything.
Yeah, because I don't sell anything. You just accumulate that much gold. So you can change your skill tree whenever, and I used to like it. You would park that one, and then you would wipe everything, and you would go, right, I want this skill this time, and then you would go, right, what works with that? And it was complicated. You had to go into a menu and put a keyword in, and the keyword would be like resource, and then that would mean that that's what topped up your character's mana. Basically, everyone's got a different mana resource, but it's essentially mana for each of them. It'd be like fury or rage or whatever, but it's the same thing. But you have all these multiple, and then, so what they've done now is they've taken all those passive skills away, or the majority of passive skills. So now when you unlock a skill, it used to have 2 options, and that would like give you a little modifier on it. Now it has 3 options, which will completely change that skill. So it might change it into a different keyword, or like, so for example, the warlock would have hellfire skills, abyss skills, occult skills, and shadow form skills. It will turn an abyss skill into a shadow form skill. And the reason that matters is because later on there'll be a skill that procs because you've used a shadow form skill. So
you're just looking to make those synergies.
Yeah, then. And it's all about these synergies. But what they've done now is they've done it so that if you max everything out, because I found this out because I maxed out the paladin. If you max everything out, you've got like 40 skill points left over. And all you can do is pile them into the main 5 or 6 skills that you use, because they used to cap at 5, and then items would add more levels. Now they cap at 15 because they've had to go, shit, everyone's got 40 skill points they can't use,
something with them,
or 30 skill points they can't use. So they've just, and to me it feels like they've got halfway, and I said it in the review, they've got halfway to an idea, and then they've gone, fuck, this isn't quite there, but we've got to ship it. So I think later they're gonna,
halfway through.
Yeah, I do think they're going to come back and overhaul this again, probably pretty sharpish, probably one of the first or second major updates or seasonal changes. They'll come back and say, we've either added more skills, or we've changed some of the passives, or maybe we've added levels. Because what happens is, like, for someone like me, or people who play this game a lot, it doesn't matter. Because no one cares. Like, there's no excitement in unlocking that new. All you're doing is powering through levels, like you're mashing through levels. And I'll do, like, I don't power level like some people, but I'll go from like level 1 to 25 in an hour, and then like maybe 2 hours later I'll hit level sort of 60, and then I'll max it. And like, so it's like takes a few hours tops if you do it efficiently, which I do, because you can skip the campaign once you've done it once and go straight into the end game, whack it on expert, and then just plow through demons until you, and the levels are just ping 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 ping, and it's great. And then like, and because I share that my characters have already got a certain level of paragon, you do it once with one seasonal character, and then you just mash through it with everybody else. So it doesn't matter to me, because once I get to level 70, all the skills are unlocked, and then I'll bother going in and changing the build. But I feel like if you're a new player and you've come into this and you're trying to level up, I feel like eventually you would hit a point where you're like, now I'm just like increasing the damage of that skill, and the excitement's gone. Whereas before, you were constantly unlocking this new passive here, or do you know what I mean? There was something that was like,
it sounds like it's not giving you enough back to.
Yeah, and I just feel like I can see what they've done, and I get it, they've made it so that, because they've also changed like how the unique gear works, they've added a new thing called a talisman, where you can equip the talisman and then you can put runes in it, or wards I think they're called, and that will change your stats. And they've given you all these new ways to like min max your build however you want, and you've still got the armory, so you can still go and save it and then go and do something else. And the end game, it just gives you like, it just showers you with like legendary loot and uniques and things like this that you want to be building up. But so I get it, and I feel
it
like
sounds like you need a spreadsheet for this, Mick.
I was just thinking that.
Well, you kind of do, but you don't. Well, I don't know, because I've played Diablo since Diablo 1.
It's in your blood,
so yeah, and I've played, and I've literally never had a year I wasn't playing a Diablo game since like 1996 or whatever when Diablo came out. I've always been playing a Diablo game. So like I'm used to it, and I've like seen it all evolve, and I've gone through it, and like, so this is like just bread and butter, and it makes perfect sense to me.
See, to me as an outsider, it sounds absolutely baffling at times with the sheer amount of choice.
So I see what they've done in this, but like Diablo's always been like that, because now when you, so say you're a new player and you've never played Diablo and you think, I'm going to try Diablo 4. Maybe you played Path of Exile and someone said, well, Diablo 4 is less hardcore than Path of Exile, but it's the same dopamine rush. So you go, right, I'll try Diablo 4, and then you load it up. And the first thing you see is 8 classes to choose from. So it's like, right, I'll pick 8 classes. They all start the same way. The campaign's the same for all of them. It's, you know, but so you've got to pick a class. You don't know anything about the classes. They all have different resources. They all have very different play styles, and they do play very differently. So you pick, for example, the warlock. Then you start working through the skill tree, and the very first, you start the game and it gives you a skill point, so you can pick your first skill. And then you go in and you're like, well, straight away you've got 4 choices of just the basic skill. Is you've got 4 choices, and then whichever one of those you pick has then got 3 options to modify the skill into something else. And then you realize that the basic skill is literally only there to top up your primary resource so that you can cast the core skill, which is the second one you pick. And it's like that. And then like every class has got like permanent like buffs that they can, like Paladin's got auras. Do you know what I mean? Like
and this is all in like the first 5 minutes then, yeah?
Yeah, this is how it starts. Like,
Sweet
and then
Jesus.
You know, and then you've got like, for example, they can all use different weapons, so they can't all just pick up the same swords and the same, like some characters can only use a certain type of shield. The barbarian literally equips 4 different weapons. Like he has 2 one-handed weapons, one 2-handed weapon in this hand and another 2-handed weapon in that hand, and then you switch between them, and that's how your skills work. And then like, do you know what I mean? So there's, and it's not that complicated compared to like a Path of Exile 2.
I mean, it sounds it.
But it is if you've never played it. And I feel like for the sake of onboarding, like Diablo's good because it's not live service, even though it feels like live service, it's always online. But once you go in, you have to do the campaigns. When you first start, you must do the campaigns. And the campaign does quite a good job of just sending you to places you need to go. And because the game levels with you, the difficulty stays more or less the same. And if you ever hit a point where you're like, I'm really struggling here, just go and level up. Do you know what I mean? Just go back to an earlier area and grind the shit out of some demons.
Just treat it like a Souls game then.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just get stronger and then go back to where you were. The bosses aren't particularly hard in the campaign. So for the sake of onboarding, you've got like, I don't know now, 15 to 20 hours of campaign to onboard you. So by the time you get to the end of the campaign, you will know what you're doing. Like you'll either drop off or you'll understand the game, and you'll be balls deep. But it's just, I love it.
You think there's enough here with this expansion for veterans to jump back in and actually gain something out of this then?
Oh fuck no, not for veterans. They'll moan about this.
They'll start bitching.
They'll piss through this in 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours, and then they'll be like, need more end game. But But you have got 2 new classes which make a difference because, like I said, each new class has multiple builds that you can play around with. I mean, already it's out today, and already YouTube is flooded with best Warlock build, best Paladin build. Like, if you're a new player, fuck all that. Seriously, I don't care if it's a YouTuber with 10 million subscribers telling you that they know. Fuck all that. Just play the game. Because it's really annoying, because Diablo is a game that's very easy to meta chase. So like that's what it's what these people do, and all credit to them. It's great. I go to like Icy Veins and stuff, which is the Diablo build website.
I just assumed that was your local.
When I get to endgame, I'm like, right, I'll go and I'll have a look at Icy Veins. I can't remember what the other one's called, and I'll like find a build and I'll try it if I've got all the stuff for it, or it gives you something to look for because it's like, oh, this build needs this mythic and it needs this unique and it needs this aspect.
Gives you something to work towards.
Yeah, so it's like, right, where do I get that from? I go and get that. Where do I get this from? And it gives you a reason to do it. And then you try the build and you go, well, how is he getting like 2 trillion damage per hit, and I can't do that? And then I just give up and do myself and have fun. But like, I would just say, like, to avoid all that stuff to begin with and just play the game, because the campaign will get you to the end game, and then you'll be ready. You'll finish the campaign. If you just play the game through, you'll finish the campaign at like level 50, and then you'll go into the end game, and then you'll hit the max level cap, and then you'll feel like putting the difficulty up, and it's all very organic and very easy. And I would just say, veterans will want more. I mean, a new season starts today, which I am interested, because Diablo seasons are very much hit and miss. Like, some seasons, the season before last was excellent, and I maxed out the season pass, and I did everything, and I got all the challenges, and I did as much as possible, and I had a ball doing it with the Paladin. And then the last season, I couldn't fucking stand, because it was just about the Butcher, and the Butcher is a recurring character in Diablo who pops up, and every time he pops up, he goes, fresh meat. And this mechanic in this season was that you would do something and then turn into the Butcher. So I played it for like 2 hours, heard fresh meat 4,000 times, and just checked out until the season. I can't do it.
You just got too pissed off by one sound.
Yeah, and it was kind of a short season, and I didn't really care for much of the stuff in the season passes, or whatever they're called. They're not called season passes, but so I just waited. But a new season is, I can't even remember what it's called, but so that's what I'm looking forward to, because I'll blast through the campaign as quick as possible, and then go into the end game and
start your daily grind
and smash the seasonal stuff. But you've always finished the seasonal stuff. Like, I'm a normal person with like work and stuff, so I'll finish the seasonal stuff within like a month, and then there's usually a month to 6 weeks, and then there's usually about 6 weeks left before the next season. So that's when I drop off and I won't touch it for a while. But you get people that just max it out in like a week, and then they sit there going, "There's no content."
No content, mate.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing as all live service stuff with seasonal content. They used to do it with Destiny, and I mean, they complained that Destiny used to dole its seasonal stuff out week to week, and that pissed people off because people just want as much as possible.
But you can't win in that situation, can you? Because you either dole it out and give you something constantly to feed off of, and it's too slow for people, or you get it all at once, and they've done it in 48 hours, and then bitches and other stuff there. So there is no win state.
No,
I like the Destiny drip feed, but I like the way Diablo 4 does it as well. I like the way it just goes, here's the seasonal content. It gives you a seasonal story to work through, which is basically just a dressed up grind, because it gives you like a new board to chase. So it's like, earn this currency, kill this many demons in this particular way, and this will unlock this loot box and this loot box, and that's what it is. It's just a train of loot boxes, but it'll also have a unique seasonal mechanic, like a new thing that you can equip for that season that will make you exponentially stronger for that season.
Right. And
then when that season's over, that mechanic goes away, and they never bring them back.
So it doesn't ruin a power balance somewhere later on.
It's gone. And those characters that you start in that season, they slip into the Eternal Realm. And then if you want to carry on living them, no one does. You can go into the Eternal Realm, and play with them. But what happens really is you finish the season and the character's a ghost. You just never go. No one, I don't think anybody plays in the Eternal Realm with old characters because the juice is in the seasonal stuff.
Yeah.
And it is, I do wish they'd do a resurrection thing like they do with like Arc Raiders. Like, just fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
You know, let me finish a season and then just resurrect that character. But like, maybe take the loot away, but leave the levels. I don't know, something that doesn't mean I have to start a brand new class. But then there's 8 classes now, so I'll play 2 random classes a season, so it keeps it kind of fresh
to keep it varied for yourself. Yeah.
What are the new
I'm
ones?
the Warlock and Paladin. So the Paladin is like holy. It's basically the Crusader from Diablo 3 mixed with the Paladin from Diablo 2, and this is the one that everybody wanted. Everybody was like, "Give us a Paladin! Give us a Paladin!" And they did, and it's cool as fuck. It's such a good class.
It's tanky.
Oh yeah, it's really, really fun. Like, it does a shield throw that bounces off enemies, and it's got magic hammers that fly around it, and auras that if you do, no one really plays this. See, this is the other thing. Blizzard really want people to play this multiplayer, and no one really does. Like, no one plays it multiplayer.
A few of the guys at my work went through it when it was first out in multiplayer, and I think they all just kind of dropped off and went their own separate ways.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did that.
Because it doesn't need multiplayer. It really doesn't need it. It's fun to have it and say, right, let's play together for a couple of hours, but it's pointless. You don't need multiplayer. And
you just as well just firing up game chat while one of you's doing something else and just chat between you anyway. So,
and likewise, there's PvP areas that are dead and have been dead for years, and nobody goes, like, there's a trophy I can't get because you have to kill 5 people in PvP, and you just cannot find 5 people doing PvP. People actually go onto the Diablo forums and are like, does anyone want this trophy? Oh, and then they like arrange to, I don't know how they do it, but they arrange to meet, and like, you kill me 5 times, I'll kill you 5 times, we go our separate ways, because nobody wants to engage with the PvP because there's no balance to it. It's fucking insane. It's like, it's kind of pointless. So, and then like the second class is the Warlock, which is all like blood magic, and you summon demons, and it's a kind of a cross between like the sorcerer and the necromancer, because the sorcerer is all elemental magic, and the necromancer is all summon skeletons and golems and stuff, and like the Warlock has skills where they'll perform an action and that will summon a demon, and there's like a demon that you can summon. There's 4 demons that you can summon and are just with you all the time. If you like, you pick which one to equip, and they have different bonuses for different attributes, and there's like a hellhound that you can ride and shit, and there's one demon that's like half a demon with like great big horns, and he's in chains, and I think his name's Velok, and there's stuff like, you do stuff and he'll literally say things like, have I not done enough for you? And it's like, just fucking do what I'm telling you to do, bitch. Yeah, it's like, you, because you've like literally enslaved these demons to do your bidding. It's quite cool and fun, very thematic. But I don't know what they're doing now. Everyone's now waiting to see if they just announced Diablo 5 or if there's going to be a new arc in. I would take a new arc in Diablo 4. Personally, I would say add 2 more classes down the line. Give us a new campaign, but I don't know what they're going to do, because this campaign ends the Diablo 4 story as is. Like, it ends it quite definitively, ends it. So it's either a new game now, or they do a completely new arc within this game, and I don't know if that would work, because I think, but then again, I don't know how you do a Diablo 5 now, because how do you make this world again? Because this world's got fucking every possible biome already in it.
It feels like it's not that old either, really. Because
as I was going to say, in my head, it still seems quite new. It probably isn't at this point.
2023, I think.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so it's not that old.
So we're not ready for a 5th. Like, it's quite quick they've got these expansions out, really, because like they could have waited several years. So it wouldn't surprise me if they go another year of seasonal stuff and then they announce more story content, or maybe a new way of doing it within this game. I don't expect a Diablo 5 to be announced, because I'm not sure what they could do with a Diablo 5 that they can't do in this current architecture. Like, you might as well just go, here's a new villain for this campaign, here's a new class, here's another new, chunk of sanctuary to go and explore. maybe we'll mix stuff around. Maybe we'll do a cataclysm type thing like in Warcraft, where we'll move some of the world around. Or
they'll probably just turn it into some sort of extraction shooter, Mick. That's the cool thing to do now. So
I'd play that, to be fair. That sounds pretty cool.
Well, speaking of extraction shooters, Kieran's been playing Busbound, which is not an extraction shooter.
That's about as far from an extraction shooter as you can get. An extraction shooter is so
But
tense.
if I do,
and like it's so stressful and tense, isn't it? Whereas Busbound is like the most. I mean, Steve described it as boring. I wouldn't say boring. I think it's relaxing.
It's a fine line, man.
It does look boring.
It looks very boring.
It's. I mean, obviously, from the bit I played and talked to you about, Kieran, maybe I was a little extreme with boring. There's a level of satisfaction to it, but there's not an awful lot going on.
No, there's not a lot going on at all. It's a relaxing. What I like about it is it's a relaxing game that isn't a cozy game, because I play a lot of cozy games just because that's just what I end up playing, especially for the website. No one else seems to like them.
That's your thing, man.
Yeah, I like stuff that I can relax with after like a busy day at work, and this was a really nice, relaxing game to play that wasn't cozy but was still like chill.
Because it is basically bus driver simulator, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another Saber Interactive work sim. So I like basically everything that they put out. So they did Roadcraft last year, which I really enjoyed. That was a bit more. There was a bit more to that. I think that was more like a bit more intense, because you're like cleaning up after like a cataclysm in the world.
There was a fair bit more complexity to it compared to Busbound.
And then they did Docked, which I've reviewed earlier this year, which I liked as well, which was working as a longshoreman, a virtual longshoreman.
So what you're telling me is you'd like to come home from work and go to work?
Yeah, it's a different kind of work, though, isn't it? I could never drive a bus, partly because I don't have a driver's license. I don't know how to drive.
I mean, yeah, that would be your first hurdle, admittedly.
But yeah, it's as far as simulators go, it feels like a simulator made for people that don't like simulators. It's really like it's really clever the way that they've built it around, because usually when you get simulators like this, there's they cram a lot of business management elements into it as well, and you end up like I've played other bus simulators before, and you end up like basically running the business and trying to like do all these bits of busy work alongside the main part of the game.
The actual driving and
it just gets a bit annoying and a bit like overwhelming. Whereas Busbound is like set in it's a fictional city called Emberville in America, and it's designed to look like a slice of Americana. So it's like small town but growing into a city essentially, and it's got like it's even got backstory. Like it's got backstory about like its industrial past that you get doled out through like loading screens and like little cinematics here and there.
Right.
But it's like this really weird, bizarre utopian world where the council basically they don't charge for any public transit. You just if you like it, if you like the ride that the bus driver's giving you, you give it a thumbs up, and then that translates into more budget for the transport system. It's when you think about
it's just like real life.
Yeah, but it means like you get like, as you're driving around, you get like graded on everything by the people that you're driving. So if you go over a speed bump too quickly, then they all kick off and start like making speed references, and they're
definitely not keen if you brake too hard either.
No, they don't like braking too hard. They don't like if you run a stop sign. They get really angry at that. But then equally, they'll cheer the bus driver when you like go around like a crashed car, or if you pull up nice and close to the curb, and they all start cheering, and like it's just really weird when it's cheesy, but really like quite sweet. It's just quite like I don't know why. I know why they've done it like that, and I think it's a really clever idea to take away some of that business management side of things. But
because there is a little of that in this, doesn't it? You can expand lines and create new routes, but it doesn't seem like you say it's not as in depth as some of these other games are, where it does become a bit much at times.
Well, yeah, in other games, you're doing it to make money, really, because that's what then funds buying more stuff. Whereas, because this is all based on customer satisfaction, essentially, you drive more routes to upgrade the bus stops within them, and then when you upgrade enough bus stops in a district, that district evolves essentially, almost like a Pokemon. So there's your second Pokemon reference for the night.
He'll be happy, I'm sure.
But yeah, so like you start off in like the there's like a school district, for example, and it's a bit run down and it's congested and stuff. But if you level up all the bus stops in that district, then you get this like, again, really like sort of cheesy cutscene where they show like all the improvements they've made to the area, and there's new infrastructure and new buildings, and you do like a little celebratory lap in the bus with like customers, and as you're driving around, they're sort of like again cheering on, like, oh, like I love what they've done with the park, as if like this has just popped up overnight and not been like a 10-year piece of expansion.
Project's been ongoing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, when you compare that to something like the Euro Truck simulators, where it's literally like driving up the M62, and it's always the same. I guess there's a feeling of satisfaction from revitalizing the world because of your good driving.
Yeah, and it's not just like skin deep. Like it changes literally like the routes around the map and stuff. Like it adds new roads in, it adds like bus routes, so that way you haven't got to deal with traffic and all that sort of stuff. And like as a city, Emberville's, I think it's, I can't remember the last time I've seen a city that's like this realistic, like a fictional city that's this realistic, because there's just stuff going on everywhere, and it never feels like contrived or like it's they're forcing stuff in. But like you'll drive past like the arts center in the city center, and there'll be like a brass band playing one time, or there might be like,
so it all feels quite natural. And
yeah, but the stuff changes as well. So there'll be like you'll pull up at a corner and there'll be like a kids party happening in someone's front garden, or just little bits of
well,
like,
that's where you end up looking at it and slamming into the car in front.
Well,
as you're just turning your head to look, you think, oh, smack, there we go.
To be honest, though, I like a game sometimes that just like I played mostly violent stuff, like one way or another. It's usually something violent or exploding. Yeah, and it's like, and every now and again I'll play something and lose myself in a house flipper or a power wash simulator, or just a job sim in general. Like it'd be random ones sometimes that I wouldn't necessarily think of, but I'll just think like I'll download that and I'll just try like Euro Truck Simulator. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like
that's the one I dropped into for a while, man.
And I'll play it for like 3 or 4 hours, and then like I think recently I got it really into Hard Space Shipbreaker. That was
I love that.
Where I was just like. And I got really immersed in that, and I got really into and I played it for ages and ages, and then I just dropped off it because I just went on to something else because the next review code came in, or something new. The new hotness came out, and I jumped on it. And then in between the new hotness, when I've got no Diablo or I've dropped off Destiny 2 now, it'll be those games that I'll sometimes I just find myself just keeping them installed. Like I've always got Power Wash installed. I've always got House Flipper 2 installed on different devices.
You're treating it like a palate cleanser then between, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, at the minute I've been, I've sort of substituted those sort of games with things like Balatro and Beyond Words and Slay the Spire 2, which I'm really into. But every now and again, you'll just need like something to just.
Something nice and calm.
Yeah, something where it's nice to play a game where something isn't trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like this sounds like a game where I would imagine that I would put this on in like a cynical way and be like, Game of the Year conversations are coming up. I'll stick this on and play it for an hour. And then like 5 hours later, I'm like,
still going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's on like the it's not as silly as Power Wash Simulator, but it's on that, I guess, that end of the spectrum for simulators. It's one of those ones where it's not hardcore. Like you don't have to like be, like I said, managing the minutiae or even down to the controls and stuff. A lot of these games feel like they're built for PC, and then they add controller support afterwards.
Yeah, you need like a million hotkeys just to get started, and
Whereas this is just, it's so simple. Like all you need is like accelerate, brake, and then your indicators essentially. And it's all there's not millions of buttons that you need to remember. It's just really simple and easy to play. And I think a lot of the charm comes from the city that they built, because like I said, it feels really realistic and it's nice to drive around. But then when you add that to the sort of bizarre customer satisfaction fuels everything in this city mechanic, and the fact that you can upgrade the districts and the bus stops, it just becomes like a really addictive loop. And like I finished it before the review, quite a bit before the review, but they sent the code quite early. But I didn't expect myself to go through and max out every district, but I have done now. done all that, and I'll be going back here and there. Because again, I can play it in the daytime as well when Ted's awake. I don't have to worry about like I can play something enjoyable without worrying about like blood and gore and stuff on the TV.
And it's always a mark of a good game, I think. Sorry, I was going to say it's always a mark of a good game when you, because quite often when you review, especially because I review a lot of the AAA stuff, and it's like usually like the embargo is pretty close to the line, and like so you sort of mash through it, and then you finish it for the embargo, or you get as far as you can before the embargo, and then it's like it's always a mark of whether it's good if you keep playing after the embargo or after whenever you've written the review, because usually once the review's written, like you've got something else to move on to, or you've got something to go back to that you stopped playing because you were doing this review. And I always think it's the mark of a really good, not necessarily a really good game, but it's a mark that you clicked really well with a game when your obligation to play it is done.
And
then you carry on playing it
straight away and be like, see you later then, thanks, bye.
So Busbound, like I said, it's a really good game. Speaking of game of the year, it might end up in some of those discussions. I'll be arguing for it or something maybe.
I'm gonna have to download it then.
It's that genre where it's quite literally a time sink, but I never feel like I come out wasting 3 hours, because you do get a relaxation factor from it you don't get from a lot of other things. So it's like, what have you actually achieved for 3 hours? Oh, not a lot. I've just driven around here. But I don't feel like I've wasted 3 hours with things like that at all.
And it's got multiplayer as well, which I've not tried yet, but you can play the whole thing in 4-player co-op, which I think was quite cool.
Oh, so you just wave to each other as we drive past?
Like, I think that's what basically happens,
Fantastic. We'll give that a go, man.
You do the simulate the bus drivers giving each other the nod as they go past, like they do. Even if they don't work for the same bus company, it's the nod.
Mutual respect.
Like bikers, you see two bikers go past each other, they nod. Car drivers don't. They're fucking get out of the way. But two bikers.
Busbound. Good
anyway,
game.
So I've got. Sounds good. I will try it, because I always try. So I don't know. So Goatee's a long way away, and there's a lot of stuff to come out between now and then. But we always try and cram as many, even if it's just an hour on something. So I'll download it and give it a razz, and between now and the end of the year, I'm sure.
Demo on Steam. You could try that.
Perfect to relax in bed with.
Yeah,
I'll give it a go. So the third game then, again, there's no real segue to this. We've got a real mixed bunch of games.
It really is, isn't it?
But another game which is going to come up during the Goatee discussions, and I think a couple of us, me and Adam particularly, will argue quite strongly for it in several categories, is Saros, which I know I spoke briefly about it last week. I didn't want to get too into it because I was still quite early in the game at that point, and I did finish it. I did finish the story, and then I went and got the extra bits and did the secret ending. Me and Adam, after much messing around and experimentation, managed to unlock the difficulty settings, because it's not straightforward, and I'd missed them in my when I first started the game, and I had to go back and jump through the hoops to unlock them, because it does demand you do so.
This isn't like just a menu option, then it's just like hidden away you haven't spotted.
No, it's not. It's not just a menu. You don't just go in and go, right, make it easier here and harder there. So I'll get into the difficulty options, because it is a big thing. But essentially, no, it's more. It's you have to do certain things, and then the game allows you difficulty options.
Okay,
so
you got to work.
You kind of have to prove you don't really need them in order to get them. And it's kind of like that.
That's a weird tag.
Essentially, yeah. So anyway, I'll get into that stuff. But the actual game itself is. So did either of you guys play Returnal?
Yeah, I've played a bit. I have to find that a really fucking tough game, I'll be honest. Like
Yeah,
bullet hell
Returnal
stuff
was
on like a
nails.
2D plane, I'm fine with. As soon as you give me it in 3D, my brain just goes to mush.
So Returnal was nails, right? It was a hard game from start to finish. It was a very difficult game, and it never got easier. Like, it wasn't a game that was built for you to like
Power level your way through it all, or
you
like...
couldn't. You just had to meet it on its terms all the way through, and you had to get good at it. And then it had that thing where it did the false ending, and then it does an actual ending where it shows you credits, and then you have to go back and do it again to get the true ending. And I didn't like the true ending. Saros does the same thing, does a different thing with the ending, and it's much more ambiguous, and I liked it more. It doesn't do the false ending. Returnal did that cool thing. I mentioned it during the GOTY discussions of that year, because Returnal did a cool thing where, like, I think I said it before, where you get to the end of where she's heading, and then you have a whole cutscene where she gets rescued from the planet, and she lives her life, and she goes through her whole life, and she has kids, and she watches them grow up, and they get married, and she gets married, and then like she dies, and then when she dies, she goes back to where she was, because that's what the loop is. When she dies, she respawns because she's trapped on a roguelike planet, basically. And it doesn't matter that she's left the planet and gone through her whole life back on Earth and had a happy existence. When she dies back on Earth, she goes back to Saros, to Apatos, and she's stuck. So that's what Returnal does. Spoiler, sorry for a game that's 5 years old now, but it was a difficult game, and it was meant to be difficult. So what they did with Saros is, so in this one, you're Arjun Devraj, who's played by Rahul Kohli, and he does a really good job of playing a really grumpy bastard. Like, Arjun is like, this game has no sense of humor. You know, some games just, and I said it in the review, this game has no sense of humor. There's no levity to this game. It's just fucking bleak and miserable all the way through. No one even cracks a joke. You know, like in some games you get a comic relief character, or you get, like, there's an Australian guy at the beginning of this game for quite a while as part of the party, and different things happen, and even he's not comic relief. And it's like, why give me an Australian dude who's not going to swear? And so, do you know what I mean? And I thought, like, and so it doesn't do any of the comic relief stuff. There is no comic relief. Like, everybody's dead serious all the time. And yet the writing's really good. The performances are really good. The story is very good, and it's doled out in such a way that every time you fail and you restart, you get a tiny bit more story. You find different audio logs around the place. The characters maybe have gone away or come back, or this character is now doing something else, or this character's got something that they want you to check out. When you go out into the world, every time you start, the beginning portion of every area is different. So when you first go out anywhere, the beginning part of it is different, and there's so many different versions of every stage.
Okay,
you know, this is not like, oh, there's 2 or 3 and they cycle. No, like, it rarely repeats. The more, like, you die so often.
Is this all procedural then, Mick?
No, it's not procedural. The enemy placement feels procedural because it fucking punishes you if you do well. Okay. It's got that AI director quality where because what happened was, just a brief one. I played through to the back end of the second area, and then Adam was like, because I was struggling with it, Adam was like, you know, there's difficulty options in this. Look, there's this whole menu, and I was like, that menu's not in the game. And he was like, let me check. And he went, and he was like, no, this menu's not in the game. How the fuck? And then we watched this thing where it was like, and you go into the menu and it's like, activate Carcossian modifiers. So you activate it and nothing happens. Or it says, sorry, activate unlimited Carcossian modifiers. So we did this, and it was like, nothing's changed. What are Carcossian modifiers? They don't exist in the game. It tells you how to do it in the game, but they don't exist in the game. And we played around with it, and we watched the dev diaries and stuff that they were explaining, and it turned out that what you have to do is, so there's a massive skill tree in this game, and I mean massive. I don't think it ends. It's just this massive skill tree, and every time you go out into the world, you will come back with some currency. Every time you die, you'll bring back some currency. And every time you come back, you go to the skill tree and you get a bit stronger. And that the tagline of the game is like, come back stronger. And that's all you do. Every time you die, you wake up, and the meta progression means that you constantly are getting stronger. You're constantly unlocking the next level of weapon. You're constantly upping Arjun's stats. You're constantly unlocking new things that then go into the random loot boxes that you find. So you'll get different weapons, different special powers.
So like we said before, it feels like it wants you to succeed.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And you can farm. You can hit a boss and be like, I can't kill this boss. So you can go back, which I did, go back and play through the last biome 1, 2, maybe 3 times, bring all that currency back. But what it does is, if you do really well, it will just throw harder stuff at you. So like if you're just pissing through a biome with no problems, it will just drop and it's called a solar cage, which seals the area and then drops like an elite boss in there.
Right, so you got to
an
beat
elite enemy. And it's like, yeah, and then if you do really, really well, it might do another solar cage and just drop 2 elite enemies in there. And it's always randomized. It's a random bunch of enemies, so you're constantly having to think about what to dodge and how to move. You unlock Arjun's skills very piecemeal. So he starts off being able to dodge and use a shield, but then you have to upgrade the shield so it can absorb different coloured laser.
Because that's a big part of this now, isn't it? That you can use the shield to absorb enemy energy.
Yeah, so you absorb power and then you can shoot it back at them. But then you find they're corrupted and the shield won't block corrupted damage until you upgrade the shield. Then it will block corrupted damage. Then you upgrade it a 3rd time because there's red damage. You can't absorb the red damage, but you can parry it back. So you get a parry mechanic. Then you've got like a grapple hook and a super jump, and all these things unlock. But basically, what you have to do to unlock the Carcosa modifiers, and I had to start a new save to do this because I don't know if you can do it after the first world. It's possible you can do it at any point, but basically you have to max out. So on the skill tree, every major boss, the overlords, have a skill node.
Right.
You have to unlock every skill point on the tree up to that node. Then you have to die at the boss, and then it unlocks the Carcosa modifiers. So you've basically proved that you have done everything you can do to get stronger up to that point, because you can't improve anymore because you've unlocked all the skills. And then you have to lose to the boss. So the game is going, you've unlocked everything. You can't possibly get stronger at this point.
Taking a kick in.
And you still took a grubbing. So here are the Carcosa modifiers. And then the Carcosa modifiers are then unlocked through doing things within the game as well. But they do things like, so you've got like a barometer, and it starts in the middle. And if you give yourself more defense, it ticks that way. Right. The enemies do less damage, ticks that way. You've got a higher range to pick up the currency, and it hits that. And then the default setting is you get +3 or -3.
Okay.
So then you have to put a negative modifier on if you want another positive modifier. So now if you want to add another one, you've got to say, right, well, I'll randomly lose half of my currency when I die.
Or so you have to have a penalty to counter.
You have a penalty.
Okay.
But the thing that you can unlock in the menu at any time, even before you know this exists, is you can switch on unlimited modifiers. So that means you can just go all the difficulty ones, which is fucking insane, or all the negative ones, which essentially breaks the game. So the idea is you can, and like I said, the first time I did this, because I beat the boss before I unlocked all these nodes, I didn't know it existed. And then the second boss, the skill tree is exponentially bigger. So I was nowhere near, but I don't know if it does it again. I don't know if I unlock everything up to the second boss, if then it unlocks the modifiers.
But you have a whole lot more to do beforehand.
But you have a whole lot more. And it does take several runs to even do this. Like I went back in and did it knowing what I was doing. I was pissing through runs and the game was throwing harder stuff at me because it knew I knew what I was doing, which is another thing it does. So it'll go, well, you haven't died through the last 3 elites I've thrown at you. So you obviously know what you're doing, and maybe you're farming or grinding. So fuck you. Here's another 2 elites in this room. And it will do stuff like that. It feels like it does that. So yeah, then you unlock these Carcosa modifiers. And it's very easy then to break the game if you want to break the game. So I set it so I had like one bar on the higher difficulty. I did more damage, they did less damage.
Yeah.
And I turned on the one that let me have more range to pick up currency. So I didn't have to run around trying to pick it up. It just came to me.
Farm it freely.
And like towards the end, like on the final boss, after it beat me, like, because the final boss does this thing where it beats you and then you have to do his entire like area again. And I did that like 3 times, and I was like, I could go back, but like embargo deadlines looming, so I was just like, fuck it, and I just changed the difficulty and I finished it. And like, I didn't feel bad because fuck it, you know. But you can do that if you want, but then you could just ignore it. Like, you might not even unlock it. You might just be one of those players that struggles a bit, but you don't know it's there. And you just keep going. I don't know if it randomly unlocks towards the end or if it does it at the end game anyway. I don't know.
I was gonna say, it feels weird,
but it's not straightforward
just for everyone, because it sounds like that can be quite fun to play with in itself.
And it does a weird thing where like the menus sort of spoil everything in the game. Because if you go into the menu, you can go to the tutorial and it's just like how to use the grappling hook. What fucking grappling hook? And you don't get the grappling hook for like 4 hours. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, there's a grappling hook coming. And it does that with everything. So like, be careful, be aware that if you go to the tutorials for anything, look for what you want and then leave, because it tells you everything. And it will spoil stuff, like down to the weapon types. So there's quite a variety of weapon types. So you've got like 2 different pistols, and then you've got like, well, hand cannons, and you've got like the shotgun and the assault rifle, and it's basic stuff. But then there's different variants of all of those, and it's all random.
Right.
So you get like there's like one of the assault rifles will just like work like a normal assault rifle, but one of them's got fully tracking bullets, which I loved, because you just hold the trigger down and just jump. And Arjun will automatically reload and just keep shooting, and the bullets will just go where they need to go. And if you're fighting a boss, it kind of becomes not easy mode, but you don't have to worry, because it just shoots the boss's weak point, and you're just focused on, because it's bullet hell, and it is bullet hell. It's like Returnal.
Some of those screenshots look absolutely mad, because there are literally just blobs everywhere, and you look and think, how are you getting through that? And I'm guessing that's where the shield comes in.
This is the thing. So you need to. So as easy as you can make it, you can still die. Arjun is like, you will keep growing your health bar. It's called integrity, but you'll keep growing your integrity. You'll keep growing your power bar, so you can do the special attack more. You'll keep growing your other stat, which is drive, which gives you more, like it multiplies the currency, so you can earn more currency the higher you drive. And as you go through levels, you'll find these boxes. There's blue ones, red ones, and yellow ones, and they'll give you either guns or power attacks, or they'll change a stat or whatever. And they're the completely random things. So they can break the game if you're just lucky and you get real good stuff, or it might just keep giving you shit guns that you don't want. And then you have to use the redraws, but you run out of redraws, and it's just
classic
like
roguelike elements, man.
What I'll say about this though is, I think so. This is flawless. Like, it's a PS5 game. I can't imagine how good this looks on a Pro. Like, I think Adam is obviously playing it on a Pro.
Yeah.
I even on the base PS5, it's flawless, and it's so fast. Like, it's fucking insanely fast. And I don't mean like in a Sonic the Hedgehog, everything's a blur kind of way. I just mean like Arjun just sprints, and he properly sprints. It's like having a mount in another game. That's how fast he moves. It's just he's running like 25 miles an hour, just and the responsiveness of this game is off the chain. Like it genuinely is that like it's to the nanosecond.
As soon as you think it's done,
the way he jumps, the way he pivots, like putting your shield up. Yeah, there's a delay because he throws his arm up, because it's also the melee attack. But you get used to the rhythm of that. So because if you hold the shield up, eventually it will run out. So you don't want to be like holding it, waiting for the attack to come, because if it runs out when the attack hits you, you're going to take damage. So it's all about timing. And then like the dash gives you iframes through like the blue and yellow damage, but not through the red damage. So you need to learn to parry and properly dodge away or dodge through. And you have all these like things, and it becomes like a ballet of dodging, and you're focused less on doing damage. So you want the gun that does the most damage, or is the easiest to use, or there's like a gun that's basically like fire and forget, because it fires chakrams, and like you launch it and it hits an enemy and then it just spins inside them doing damage. But like when it's in them, you can rev it. Like it once you've like fired it into, like, you use it on elites or bosses or whatever, you fire these chakrams in, then you can like hold the button down and it revs the thing so it does more damage faster, but you can't fire anymore. So like you get this
that constant payoff then against
so you get this kind of like balance. But then like you have like there's a reactive reload, an active reload.
Oh, the Gears of War reload.
Yeah, so when it runs out, you press the trigger again at the right point, and it'll instantly reload, and then the first shot will do a little bit more damage, so you get these little multipliers. And it's like the story is really, really interesting. Like, I found the story really interesting. It went places I didn't expect that it would go.
What's it actually about?
Like, so yes, I've mentioned that, have I? So Arjun is an enforcer for Echelon 4, which is like a rescue team that's been sent to this planet, Carcosa, in search of the last 3 Echelon missions. So they sent Echelon 1, they lost contact. I think there were 3, the way I can understand it is there's 3 colony ships, Echelon 1, 2, and 3, and they sent them all, and they were supposed to arrive within a period of time of each other. And then they lost contact. So Echelon 4 is the rescue team. So that's Arjun's in that with the other characters. So Arjun's part of Echelon 4, which goes up as a rescue team looking for basically survivors and to work out what happens. But Carcosa is a world where the eclipse, the sun, fucks with people's minds, and it fucks with time and reality. So like by the time you get there, I think like one of the Echelon teams has apparently been there for like centuries, and it's like it hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then there's some survivors that are scattered around that you'll meet, and then there's this entity which is tied to the eclipse called they call him the Yellow King, or the God in Yellow, who's like a cosmic horror type,
right? Like
a Lovecraftian thing, who basically controls the eclipse, and it's kind of, it goes weird places, you know, and because it's messing with Arjun's mind all the time, he's not really a reliable, you know, point of view character. He's also got his own thing where he's gone up there looking for this woman Nitya, who you don't know what her relationship to him is, and it doesn't tell you until like quite close to the end of the game. And you'd be obvious and go, oh, well, it's his girlfriend, but it's not. It's deeper than that. There's more stuff, and it's like, is it like, I thought maybe it's his sister, maybe it's his girlfriend, maybe it's his ex, and you don't find out the answers to this until like quite close to the end.
And this is all being drip fed.
Drip fed in, very little bits.
I'm imagining in like almost like Hades type manner, where you know each run you're just getting a little bit of characterization, or
So it does this cool thing where you play a character, you play an area, and you find audio logs, and they're really well directed and really well developed, really well performed, and they'll give you backstories on all the other characters, and they've all got their own stories, and you quietly listen to them all just go mad. Like they just steadily all go fucking bonkers, and in some quite extreme ways. And then but you look forward to beating an overlord, because you know there's going to be a juicy block of story
big chunk
when you beat the overlord. And it's like, right, answers, and then it'll give you like 2 answers and 3 more questions, and then it's like fucking, and then you finish the game and the credits roll, and then it goes, yeah, do that again, but different, because you did it wrong. Like Arjun's like, I did it wrong. So you have to go through like a portion of the game in different orders and with different enemies and different objectives, and you do it again, and then it's like, right, now have I finished it? And so it does this thing where the world is constantly changing, constantly messing with you. So at a certain point in every mission, in every stage, you have to trigger the eclipse manually. So Arjun will reach this point, and you like put your hand in this thing, and it triggers the eclipse, and then that changes the level, and it'll unlock paths that were locked. The enemies get harder. They start doing corrupted damage. The store, like what the audio logs you find in the eclipse are much more fraught and insane. And then you can't get out of the eclipse until you kill the overlord or you die. And then like,
right, okay.
So you know what I mean? You have to
the final challenge, so pre-boss thing.
Yeah. You have to pay attention to everything to get the full extent of the story. And Arjun as well. Arjun's an interesting character because he's not he's really quite an arsehole. And like the more you find out about his past, Rahul Kohli does this superbly, by the way. He plays this guy really well. He's got a real gruff British, like, I'm not taking your shit attitude, but he's also just like insanely driven, like for his own personal stuff. He couldn't give two shits about the company because the company that sent them, Soltari, are basically like Wayland Yutani.
They're dicks.
Where they just everyone's just a commodity. All primary, this AI that controls the mission, all primary cares about is this currency, this Lucenite that you use, and all it wants you to do is bank the Lucenite, and then when you bank the Lucenite, it gives you upgrades.
Yeah.
So that's all it cares about. So primary is just like, remember the mission. You're you die, like you die and then come back to life 2 hours later, and primary is just like, your absence has been noted in Force of Devraj. And it's like, I do apologize, I was dead for like the last 2 hours. But again, it's not funny. Like, it's not done in a comical way. It's done in a very dry way. And I suppose you could find some of the things primary says maybe amusing, but it's not. There's no comedy in it. And Arjun has got like a real properly troubled past, and it's not a normal troubled past where, like, I don't know, his squad got killed in the last war or whatever, and he's dealing with. It's like, it's proper personal stuff where, this guy is just a deeply flawed human being, ultimately, and like Celine was in Returnal. It's that same basic thing. It's very much everything sort of based, and it's not like Returnal quite, where everything's sort of reflected on. It's not a whole thing. Isn't like a reflection of Celine's trauma necessarily, but of Arjun's trauma necessarily, but it definitely, you can draw, like when I got to the end, I was like, oh right, so that makes sense why that guy said that, and why this happened there, and why that thing was that
just
color.
Pulls it all together.
You can piece it, and I'm looking forward to watching some guy on YouTube explain all this to me, because that's what's going to happen. It's that sort of game where there's going to be a couple of lore. There's going to be a couple of lore guys on YouTube that are like, what really happened at the end of Saros? And then they explain it to me, and I go, I didn't get that at all. Like, and then I want to go and play it again and see. But it's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I gave it a 10 because it's flawless in performance wise. It's flawless. Like, it's like Sony first party. I don't care what anyone says. Sony first party games, not even second to. The only thing that comes close to the level of consistent quality of a Sony first party is Nintendo first party, right? They're the ones that lead the charge in this in very different directions. Sony first party
console
games,
sellers, man. At the end of the day, that's what they do. It's and it's what Xbox lost by becoming like the everything machine. I think Xbox used to, I don't know whether games like Gears of War and Halo, maybe a Forza would still be at this level, but like nothing. I don't feel like they are anymore, man. Ever since the back end of sort of the 360 era going into
that's because I mean, if Nintendo announced tomorrow Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever, right? You're no one's going to suspect for a second that's not going to be a 10 out of 10 game. It's going to be flawless. It's going to be everything. That's what I feel like Sony do that with their first party stuff. There's a couple of misses. Days Gone, people would argue, not everything, but stuff like Tsushima, Yotai, do you know what I mean? The God of War games, Horizon, Last of Us, they're say first party, not first party, their exclusives are superb. Like, generally they're superb. And this is like that. It's just another excellent Sony exclusive. It's really, really good. But it's a lot more accessible than Returnal.
Yeah, I was mean, for
And
someone like myself who struggle with Returnal, is it an easier sell?
So Returnal, I heard a statistic that like a quarter of the people that played Returnal actually finished it, and I believe that because it didn't get easier. Like it was the same level of difficulty, and if you couldn't adapt that level of difficulty, you would bounce off it. And so many people just bounced off it because it wasn't even like a Souls game where you could be like, right, I'll go and level up, or I'll go like Elden Ring. You can go and farm in Elden Ring for 20 hours and get like much stronger. You can't do that in Returnal. In this, you can. In Saros, you could literally go, I'm just going to play every biome up to this biome again, earn all that currency, and you get noticeably stronger. It does feel noticeable as well. Like it genuinely, like every time, like the second area is a massive difficulty jump. But every time I went back in, I was surviving to the next room. And it was only small incremental steps, but like now I've made it to the end of this first bit before I trigger the eclipse without using my second chance. So I know I've got better and I've got stronger and I know how to deal with the problems. And then you go back and do it again. And then you die, so you'd have to go back and do it again. But because it also lets you teleport to the start of the latest biome. See, in Returnal, when you died, you had to do the whole game again. Didn't matter how far you were, you had to go back to the beginning and do the entire game again. And sure, you got faster and you were stronger and the enemies died quicker and you knew what was coming, but you had to do that and it put people off. In Saros, when you unlock the teleporter to the next area, you can just do that. So you just go to primary, open the teleporter and jump to the second area and the third area and the fourth area. So you don't have to play the whole game. You just have to play each biome. And then when you get to the boss, there'll be a shortcut unlocked where you don't have to do the whole level again. You can just run straight to the boss. And yeah, the boss runs are quite long. You still have to make it through most of the biome to get to the boss. But you don't have to do the bit where like you unlock the lift or you find the key for the door or whatever. That's
it takes away the exploratory stuff.
It takes it away. And then you're just like, right, I know there's going to be 4 things I can pick up along the way, which might be a new gun or a new stat or a new whatever. And then you get to the eclipse, you trigger the eclipse, and then all the new things come with a negative. So you'll unlock, I can put my integrity up, but it gives me something where I lose Lucenite on hit, or my weapon jams when I take damage, which is a fucking nightmare if you take that one and don't realize you've taken it. So like, it does this. It's really, really good for the balance, but you will get through it, and that's the difference. Like it's, and even more so than like a Souls, like you will get through this. Like Hades, you're constantly getting strong. You know when you put God mode on Hades and it gives you that incremental increase
time
every time you die. It's like that, probably in a more extreme way, but that's the gist of it. So you will get through this game. You will reach the end. And if you really struggle, you will unlock the Carcosa and modifiers, and then you can make it as easy or as hard or as balanced or as imbalanced as you want. And I think it's a really interesting and cool way of doing. Like, it's weird and it's convoluted system, but it's a really interesting way to approach difficulty in a game like this, rather than just go from the beginning casual, normal, hard, or here's a bunch of sliders. It makes you think about what you're choosing and what you're taking. And yeah, fuck it, you can break the game if you want and you'll reach the end and you'll enjoy the story. And like, but people who, this is the weird thing about difficulty in games. People would complain about this. If you're the sort of person that ignores that difficulty thing and just wants to play the game, no one's stopping you doing that. It's not in your face. It's not saying to you, come and use an easier difficulty. Yeah. It doesn't do that. It doesn't, and it's a single player game. It doesn't take away from you if somebody else uses the modifiers. But it does it in a way where the modifiers are there if you're struggling with the game, and the game detects that you're struggling organically by going, you've hit a wall now. We've acknowledged that you've hit a wall. If we don't put this in, like we didn't with Returnal, you're dropping off. And they know that. They've learned. Housemarque have learned that if you hit that wall and you can't get stronger, you might be the sort of player that's going to go in and struggle, and you might achieve, you know, that might be
hours
what you
and
play
hours of
games
grinding
for.
against the game.
And more power to you. That's wonderful if that's what sort of player you are. But there's a big percentage, and I'd say a much vaster percentage of players that will bounce off when that happens. So Housemarque have given that type of player the option to make the game easier. And it's not just a case of I've stuck it on easy mode, like I did with Pragmata, where I was like, I wanted one area where I could go easy, and then it stuck me on easy for the rest of the game. And by the end of the game, I was like, this is too easy now, but it wouldn't let you change it back.
Yeah.
Doesn't do that. You can just go, I don't need the modifier now. I'm strong enough. Like that was a piece of piss. So I'll turn the modifier off. Yeah, and then
it sounds like some games could learn from this as well. This could be a thing that this passes on to, and well, lots of different genres could benefit from that.
It takes this industry so long to learn these things. It will happen eventually down the line, but Housemarque will do it again before anybody else does.
Yeah.
You know, in 4 or 5 years, when we either get Saros 2 or whatever their next version of this is, the next evolution of it, on like the PlayStation 6 or whatever, Saros, Housemarque will do it again before anybody else does it.
People might just about be catching up by that point.
Yeah, but it's really good anyway. But yeah, so 3 good games, 3 good chinwags.
I might download Diablo 4 again. Like after the chat at the start there, and I'm also quite tempted by Saros actually after that little discussion.
I would say like I would recommend Diablo 4 to anybody, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. But Saros, I would say if you played Returnal and for the first couple of hours you were like, yeah, I'm into this, and then you dropped off because of the difficulty or whatever, definitely try Saros if you can. Like, I know it's expensive. Sony exclusives are expensive, so I wouldn't sit here and tell anybody, viewer, listener, you know, you guys, I wouldn't say to anybody, go buy this game, because 70 quid is a lot. But I would say if you bought Returnal and you struggled with it and you dropped off it because of the difficulty, but you want that like experience, that intense, because it is very intense. You want that intense, like it made my palms sweat. Games don't make my palms sweat anymore, and this really did. So if you want to go back and if you want to have that level of intensity, but you want a game that you're not going to bounce off because it's too hard, Saros is it. But just do not go in expecting you're going to have fun mechanically, but the game is not, the story's not a good time. Right, so don't go in.
That's what's intrigued me more, to be fair.
Yeah,
like, okay, I want to see how this goes.
Don't go in being like hoping for rainbows and sunshine, because this game is just bleak all the time, and it revels in it, and it's what it is, and the atmosphere never wavers, and their commitment to it is commendable, because like it would be like a lesser, not a lesser company, a different company like a Ubisoft, for example, would throw a comic relief character in this and it would fuck the tone. The tone of this game is just like, you're on this planet and you fucked, and that's all there is to it. Like it's not shifting. But yeah, Saros is highly recommended, and it will come up. Definitely always going to come up at years end.
Let me get on it then.
So it's worth, even I wouldn't, like I said, buy it at your own risk, obviously. But if I could recommend it, like I recommended Pragmata, I would. I think it's absolutely worth playing.
Anything with a Mick 10, mate.
And it's the only 10 I've given this year so far, actually. So and there's been some close calls, but this one I wrote the review and I was just like, I just can't knock it for really, and I can't knock a point off it because it's grim, because that's what they've created, that's what it is meant to be, grim.
Yeah.
You know, I can't knock a point off it because the difficulty setting was convoluted and difficult to unlock, because they've done that deliberately. That's the point of it. And they've told you how to do it in dev diaries and stuff. It's just not explicitly stated in the game. And I think that's wonderful, because you're going to unlock this organically. And if you don't need it because you've got through the game, there's a risk of people dropping off of this in the first hour before they get to that point. There is a risk of that. There is a risk that, because you can, like, I hit the boss without unlocking all the nodes, and by the time I beat the boss the first time, I still had 1 or 2 nodes left to unlock. So you could go through it, and then you find yourself stuck without the modifiers, and you've got to push on. But probably if you can do that, the game is basically saying, well, you're going to make it through. Then just keep doing what you're doing. So it's got that balance. But anyway, again, I could talk about this forever. But we've got a bonus to record.
That we have.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. We will say good night until possibly next week. We'll discuss that because I'm away. So then
we'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
A week off for viewers, or one of you guys will step in, but we'll see. Yeah. That's green room stuff, which we'll discuss. But yeah, so we're going to go and record the bonus, which goes live on a Wednesday for Patreons only. This goes live on Mondays. If you like this, if it's your first time watching, go check out the other stuff. If you want to join Patreon, we appreciate it. There's a bonus pod goes out every week. If not, a like, a subscribe. The subs are still climbing. I noticed today, I went and checked, and we nudge a couple of subs goes up quite regularly now, so that's encouraging. But yeah, and if you don't like it, I don't know, tell people you liked it anyway, because it doesn't cost you anything. It does us a favor. So yeah, that's that. So we'll see you next week. I've been Mick Fraser, he's been Steve Chambers, and he's been Kieran Singh, and you guys have been lovely. Bye bye.